shall I go? What shall I do?
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Behave yourselves!
Hello, YouTubers out there. This is Jerry Saravia at the movies. So today we're talking about Together, which is a new horror film that is just came out in theaters, I think, just a few days ago. And I've seen the trailer for this film several months back. I think when I saw the film The Monkey, and they showed the trailer for this film. I didn't know what to expect, but it seemed like it could be what they call, anyway, body horror. I like to call it David Cronenberg type stuff. But nonetheless, to me, he's the father of true body horror, is David Cronenberg. So this is a feature debut, directorial debut for Michael Shanks, who wrote and directed this film. And it was shot in 21 days, which is really remarkable considering what they've accomplished here, I think. So, Together is a body horror crossed with romance type tale. Not a romance exactly, let's say a fractured relationship between two people who are codependent. This is where things really go off the rails. Now, mind you, this is the kind of picture that is really not for the faint-hearted, but it's David Cronenberg light, meaning I don't think it goes nearly as off the rails as David Cronenberg might have had he conjured up this tale. So, the story is, there's Tim, played by Franco, and he has, again, a very uneasy, fractured relationship with his partner, and that's what they call each other, partners. I mean, significant other, I've heard, or boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever happened to that, I don't know. Very weird times we live in, I think. His partner is Millie, played by Alison Brie, who you might know from Community, which is when I first started seeing her, and she's, of course, appeared in many other things, too. So, they're also the producers of this film, by the way. So, the couple is ready to move on from the big city. It's not clear where the city is, although this film was shot in Melbourne, Australia, and the director is Australian. So, they move from the big city to out in the country. She has gotten a job as a school teacher, and he is devoted to his music. And I gather from the people that he's associating with, who are friends of his, and so on, at this party that they have right at the beginning of the movie, it's an independent music label, which is fine, and they're going to go on tour. But I can't say he's making a whole lot of money doing this, but, you know, it's never very clear, but it doesn't matter. So anyway, but before they go out to the country, she, in front of everybody, all their friends, at this party, she pantomimes opening her hand like if she has a box with an engagement ring in it. So she bends on one knee. Now look, I've not seen too many movies doing this. I don't know of too many women that do this. So it's kind of a rarity, to be sure. And I like seeing something different on occasion, for sure. But it's not the way that I was brought up. I always thought the man was the one proposing, not the woman. But okay, that's, you know, this is 21st century, things change. So she bends on one knee, and he doesn't respond. He misses a beat before he could say anything, like, are you serious? You know, and that's not really what you can ask that, but then when you don't really respond to it, he takes too long, everybody knows it, and she's embarrassed, to say the least. So, awkward, which is what most of this film is. It's awkward, what occurs in this. It's worse than that, even. So, Tim is also unresponsive with Millie. Like, he doesn't exactly want to have sex with her. He has some trauma. He had seen, from his past, he had seen his father, who was dead, in bed, and his mother was just sitting there, and she didn't know what to do. She had some sort of a psychotic break, and that memory hasn't exactly helped him much, particularly in his love life. And so he won't sleep with her, but he relents and decides, okay, yeah, we'll go on that hike through the woods. Sometimes I just didn't understand. I mean, if you're with somebody, at least try. And they're in their 30s. Like, you know, what is going on here? But, okay, he has issues, so I understand that. She, though, doesn't have too many issues. She's actually the healthier partner in the relationship than Tim is. So they go on this hike, and he falls through a hole in the ground, and below it, she falls as well, trying to grab him and hold on to him, and she falls down there. There is this pool of clear water nearby. It looks very cavernous, and there are a couple of these bells around, so it's not clear what exactly this is or why they're there. He gets thirsty because he doesn't have much in his backpack as far as drinking or water or liquids of any kind. So he takes a drink from the pool, and that's a problem because she says to him, you probably shouldn't be drinking from that. I'm not drinking from that. But he's thirsty. He says, it looks clear, it looks fine. So after that, things get even more awkward. They wake up after spending a night down in this hole, and their skin is attached to each other. And they're kind of like trying to pull each other apart a little bit. And it only gets worse from there. When she goes out into town to get food at a grocery store because they don't have much food in their house, he's taking a shower, and all her movements, he kind of convulses and is banging his head against the shower and all this stuff. I mean, it's very unsettling. This whole movie is unsettling in ways in which I've not seen a horror film quite this unsettling in a little while. It does remind you in a way of what David Cronenberg would do with this type of story. So then there are times when their hands, at one point, they become fused to each other. Then there's a scene in a restroom stall where first of all, he's supposed to go out to a gig with his band, and there's a nearby train station which she has to drive him to because it's a little further away from where they live. And he starts having these issues. It's almost as if he's having a seizure. And so finally, he leaves there. He's walking along, and he goes to her school. And she says, come here. No, I need you right now. And they go to a boys' bathroom, and they start having sex in there. And you could just imagine what it is that happens. This is the type of unrelenting, nerve-frying horror film that leaves your stomach in knots. It starts off sort of as a horror film to a certain extent, with a little nod to John Carpenter's The Thing, because there are two dogs that end up down in that hole, and they drink water from it, and then they just stare at each other for a few days. And the owner notices something is going on. So it definitely reminded me of that. I think the director is a fan of John Carpenter, so that is certainly a nice little nod to The Thing. But the raw power of this film is maintained because of the domestic drama between these two. And Tim and Millie. That's really the core of the movie. When you have the horror, you have to also empathize with the characters. But what's great about this film, and several other types of really great horror films, is that it can function in one way as a domestic drama, and in another with the horror that they face. And once you intertwine them, you've got a really good horror film if it's well acted and well written. And that's the beauty of the picture, is that you could take that story of just them as a couple without the metaphors, and it would be a very interesting film about this relationship and the different shades and twists and turns that go along the way. But added to that is a bonus, because it's also this horror film with a metaphor about codependency and being and clinging to somebody that you need to. So they love each other. There's no question. You watch this film, you know they're in love with each other. But the raw power of the film are these two actors. Dave Franco and Alison Brie are fantastic. They are so good. Never mind that they're an actual married couple. They know how to play these roles. I mean, they give them the humanity they deserve, the humor they deserve, everything. These characters they're terrific, and that's what really makes the film sing. In addition to Damon Herriman, who I knew I'd seen him before and I didn't remember where, and then I realized it was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where he played Charles Manson. And he also played Manson in Mindhunter. So he is this, it's a very nuanced, disquieting performance by this guy. This guy is really good. And he is Millie's colleague at school, and he's also a neighbor, not too far off the beaten path either. And there's something that goes on with him, but I'm not going to reveal what that is. I'm not revealing spoilers. I will say the ending technically works, but it leaves some questions about the nature of this particular pool of water. Why is this there? What was this originally? Was there a cult? Which is what is suggested in the picture. Well, not suggested, I think it's clear. There was a cult in this town. But what is this? Why is this happening? And I can't say much more than that. It's better you discover the film on your own. Like I said, they make a credible codependent couple, both Dave Franco and Alison Brie. And the trouble they have in making this physical and emotional connection is really what makes the picture work. Although the water may have made things worse for his anxiety, it inexplicably makes him closer to Millie. And maybe just a tad too close for comfort. So that's where I put it. This is a terrific movie. Go see it. Again, if you're a fan of David Cronenberg, this actually won't seem nearly as twisted in many more ways than one than his own films. But be prepared, because there are unsettling moments. This whole movie is full of anxiety, and it's very unsettling. But it's remarkable. Very well done. So I look forward to seeing more from this director. Most definitely. So lend me your thoughts. Tell me what you think. Have you seen Together? What do you think of it? What do you think of these actors? What do you think of horror movies in general? This is a type of horror I prefer. I'm not a Terrifier fan. I like seeing this, or The Monkey, or Sinners. This is really where, for me, it's where it's at. So those are my thoughts. Lend me yours. If you've seen the film, let me know. Remarkable picture. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe and hit like. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you. I appreciate it, and I have quite a few subscribers I've gained in the last 30 days, so that's pretty good. And that's all I got to say about Together. And this is Jerry Saravia at the Movies, signing off.